I love how we started with the darker stuff.
Yeah, right. You always have a plan until you get punched in the mouth. Not that I got punched in the mouth, but I decided let's just go with the flow and let's go with it. So now let's go back to the
Okay.
lighter stuff.
All right. So August 2nd was actually a very, very beautiful day. And it started at Keene in my house with a crew of beautiful people. And it was just such a great energy. I am not a start hiking like at 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. I wanted it to just be like a natural cycle. So I like to get a full night's sleep the night before I go out for these things. And we had done it with the through hike. So we left the house at 8:45 and headed up the road to Giant. And Katie started me off. We did Giant RPR, and her husband, Kenny, drove us. And he was just such a great crew member and so on point. His name is Amp Man, so everybody had superhero names.
Great.
Yes. And then so he picked us up after Giant and RPR, and the day is perfect too. Like, we had a spectacular weather window. It couldn't have been any better. Days in the 70s, nights in the 50s for 4 days. And the only thing that we were battling the whole time was very wet trail conditions, like the wettest I've seen since hiking, which is a dozen years. So then we went to the Dix Range, and we went up via the Bouquet to Grace, and then over to, I guess it's called Carson now, Macomb, Huff, Dix, and then at the end of the Dix slide, that's where Jay met us. And Jay was taking a nap before we got there, and then he pounded a Red Bull, and then he led us on a bushwhack, which was by far the fastest bushwhack of my life, from Dix to Dial, and it was awesome.
It was awesome. It was
I'm calling it the Red Bull bushwhack. And we got there as the sun was setting, and then Katie peeled off and down Dial, and then Jay and I continued to Nipple Top, and then we went to Colvin and Blake, and then back over Colvin to the Lake Road, and then to camp, our first camp, which was amazing. And Crua Outdoors is one of my sponsors, and they supply tents, and we had this amazing camp crew, and they had lights. There were lights set
I
up.
saw the pictures. They looked great.
Yeah, it really, like, day one was a fairy tale. It was an awesome day hike, ended with the coolest camp in the world. And there were owls hooting, and we got in camp at 2:30, and I had it scheduled that I would have 4 hours off my feet for the first night.
Great. So let's quickly recap. So you did Giant, Rocky Peak Ridge, then to the Dix Range via the Bouquet Trail, up Grace,
Yep.
South Dix, Macomb, Huff, Dix, then a bushwhack to Dial on the Red Bull bushwhack, and then you hit Dial, Nipple Top, Colvin, Blake, back over Colvin, and then to a wonderfully decorated campsite from Crua Outdoors, who has also sponsored this very podcast before. So shout out to Crua Outdoors. You guys want a tent, go check them out. That's a huge day one, but it's nice that it was such a fairy tale ending with that campsite, because I saw the pictures and I thought, man, they're partying over there right now. It looks fantastic.
Yeah, it was super cool, and they had this beautiful camp chair set up for me, but I sat in it and it kind of, like, I just fell over.
Classic.
Yeah.
So how are you feeling physically and mentally at the end of day one?
Oh, I felt really good. Katie and I just do ultras all the time. We do the Bob Marshall Traverse. So for me, all I was framing in my head was I'm doing the Bob Marshall Traverse today or something like that.
Sure.
And it was really good. And I wanted day one to feel that way. I wanted day one to just feel normal for me. And it did.
Very cool. Yeah, a familiar start to it would
Yeah.
definitely seeming to be the way to go. So, Katie, what happened from your perspective on day one? Take us through your day.
Yeah, so I got to start with Bethany, which was super cool. We planned it like that on purpose. We knew we wanted to start together, just the two of us, like make it feel a lot like the unsupported through hike because, we both get a lot of strength from those memories. And, we talked a lot about the unsupported all throughout the day that we were together. This was my biggest day pacing. So in total, I did about 30 miles, about 25 of that was pacing. Before I handed her off to Jay after the bushwhack. One of the other challenges that we had in the background for Kenny, Ant-Man, he was driving us between the Giant Ridge and the Boquete Trail, between the trailheads. And what we didn't realize was happening when we were on trail was he was battling some of this construction traffic that's been going on. So they're doing construction, Monday through Friday, like 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. or something like that. And that just wasn't something that we had necessarily thought about ahead of time. And so he told us afterwards that when he went to pick us up at the giant trailhead that he almost didn't make it there in time to pick us up. He was kind of, frantically trying to get to us because he didn't realize how much that construction traffic was going to affect things. So there's always just little things in the background that, you're not even thinking about, and all of a sudden it can become an issue. But he made it happen. He got to us in time. He was waiting for us doing push-ups by the side of the road when we came out.
Excellent.
We call him Ant-Man for a reason. He knows how to make us laugh and, just keep us pumped up. So got us over to the Boquete Trailhead, and we went off from there. Of course, immediately we started having technology issues. Which I was dealing with in the background. We were using my Garmin InReach Mini to track, and it was tracking effectively. It was dropping breadcrumbs every 10 minutes. But for some reason, when we were trying to put out the live location so that the public could follow along and so that the rest of the team could follow along, it just kept glitching, and it would just stop our tracks. And it didn't. At one point, it didn't want to stay on unless we actively had it on a charger, and it only wanted to stay on if it was connected to one specific charger that would trickle charge it. And it was just all kinds of technology stuff going on in the background that just is another level of stress. Bethany's MP3 player stopped working almost immediately, all those little things. But, we were still happy. We were plugging along, if we figured if the worst thing that was happening was technology stuff and not anything with her and her body and her mindset, then, we're doing okay. So,
Sure.
Yeah. But no, the camp crew is awesome. After I left Dial, Jay and Bethany went on to Nipple Top, and I dropped down over Lake Road and then up to the camp up by the Wolf Jaws and just touch base with those guys. Dropped off some fresh boots for her and some other gear. And shout out to Sarah, Ashley, Dan, and Hannah. That was our camp crew. Yeah, they were awesome. They were amazing. They were super committed. They carried very heavy packs up a very steep mountain. That's a steep climb up there to that Wolf Jaw campsite. That's no joke. Yeah. And with, 40 or 50 pound packs each, those guys really are superheroes. So shout out to them.
Very cool. So now, Bethany, your MP3 player stopped working immediately. So I'm going to put you on the spot. What music would have been on that MP3 player for you?
So this MP3 player is from 2014, I believe, and has some of my most cherished playlists from, expeditions I've done in Nepal and South America. And I do a playlist for every expedition I'm going to do. So I had like our 46 through hike playlist. But to answer your question, I had Shakira. It's pop. It's mostly pop music.
Hey, we're not here to judge whatever's on there. We just want to know. We just want to know.
Yeah, I mean, it is such a collection. I kind of make it over the summer from songs that I'm digging, and just kind of go from there. So
got it. So now it didn't work though. It didn't work. So you didn't have it at all. Is that the story?
Well, so it's a cool story with that because when my music wasn't working, I was like, shit, I don't know if I can do this. Like,
Yeah, sure.
I need my music. But the team, that's when I felt the support. And that's when I really started to trust the process of whatever happens, we got your back. And so, Katie gave me her, playlist that day and I listened to her set, and that was cool to hear what she listens to while she's on trail. And then the next day, Jason set me up with some music, and then Jonathan set me up with some music, and then it was the end of day 2. Katie brought in the MP3 player again, and Kenny had fixed it, and I was able to listen to my music and jam out. And that was probably like the coolest stretch was coming off Colden, when she gave me that back. And, that's just a cool metaphor for all of it.
Sure.
The MP3 player.
Yeah. And day 4 would have been Jay Whitborn singing you Shakira and rapping for you if the MP3 did not come back. But fortunately, it came back.
Yeah, I have no doubt. No doubt.
Nice. All right, so let's hear about day 2. Take us through day 2.
Okay, so day 2, woke up at camp, and we got out of camp at 6:30, 4 hours off feet, and was feeling very good. And we got up to Lower Wolfjaw in half an hour. You're pretty close from that campsite. And then we just hit the range. And so Lower Wolfjaw, Upper Wolfjaw, Armstrong, Gothics, Sawteeth, back to the range, Saddleback. That was probably my least favorite stretch, was the Sawteeth, and then down Gothics up to Saddleback. But, Jason was there and we did it. So we're on Saddleback, and then we go to Basin, and then we do Haystack, and we do Marcy. And it was just such a beautiful day. So beautiful. And then Marcy to Skylight, Gray, Redfield, Cliff, Colden, Tabletop, Phelps. That was all in day 2. And then we camped at the Klondike lean-to.
I'm still writing them down, man. That's a day. That is a
I think
day.
That was 16 high peaks, I believe.
Yeah. Man.
Yeah.
All right. So, what happened on day 2? Any special stories or special moments that you remember in particular,
yeah.
or and how did the day go? Because I mean, man, that is a monster day once again.
It's
but of course,
day.
Everything's going to be a monster day on
this.
But a very monster day.
So beautiful. Well, up on the range, we still don't know who did this, but someone tacked an envelope to a tree with Superhero 46 messages inside. And they had like these laminated sheets with a message for us to just like keep going, you're rocking it. And that was so cool. And then the Pacers just started carrying those. And like I said, even on day 1, well, I think it was even before day 1 of just trusting the process and like actually feeling energy carry you up mountains. That's what I felt all of day 2. And it started with those sheets that were tacked to a tree, and we still have no idea who did it. So whoever did it, we thank you. And it was such a cool moment, and I still have them, and Katie has one of them. And then another cool moment from day 2, my uncle hiked in a care package, and he left it right at that junction to Marcy, like as you're coming up from Haystack to Marcy, and left like almond joys and jerky and Gatorade. And then Jason and I had a picnic on Skylight. Marcy, we had a welcoming crew because people were starting to hear about it at that point. So we were getting some cheers in the mountains, and that was cool. And, people were taking pictures, and, you just get this energy and you keep going. And the day was just perfect. And then another great moment was Jonathan took me up the coldest